here with Rotterdam, day one of NASL. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good.
And you've been living in the United States at the Razor House, right?
Yes. Well, it is called the Razor House, but how do I phrase this properly? I actually think that Mr. Bitter deserves a really big shout out for everything he's been doing with the house. Razor has been supporting him in a way, but if it was just Razor, this house would absolutely not be possible in any given way. And there are a lot of people out there who always do a lot of amazing stuff for the community, but they like to get it out there as well. Ben is actually one of those guys who does a lot of amazing stuff, but then doesn't really say it to everyone of how much amazing stuff he's been really doing. But the amount of money that Ben out of his own pocket has put into the project that he's been running, and people at home probably wonder what has been going on. Well, it should have unfolded perhaps a little bit better, but I can guarantee you that some guys improved a lot in Starcraft 2 living at the house, and that's all because of Ben. He put in a ridiculous amount of money out of his own pocket. So yes, it is the Razor House, but also a big shout out to Ben, because you might as well call it Casa di Bitter, provided by Razor or supported by Razor, because Ben has been doing really a lot for the guys.
Wow, I didn't know that. He's like the guy behind the scenes doing a lot of stuff to help the community.
No, definitely. If you would ask any of the guys, we started off back then with Beastie Cutie, a Danish Terran player. Well, the fact that I forgot his name is kind of saying everything. He did quite okay. He went from a mid-master player to a guy who took maps off players like Show in online tournaments and stuff, but he only stayed for 2 months. Then we had Giggs, who I still think is an amazing Zerg player. Right now we have Penatank from South Africa living at the house, and Todd has been in the house for a while, kind of trying to guide some guys through. But I think if you ask all of these guys, they will all say big thanks to Ben for giving us the opportunity and everything that he's been doing for the guys. So yeah, Ben definitely deserves a big shout out.
How long have you been in the United States?
We arrived at March, right after the Intel Extreme Masters Continental Finals in Hanover. After that, we flew straight to the US. We did Lone Star Clash #1 in Texas, and after that, we really settled in. We lived in a hotel for a little while, and then we found a place. And I'm renting a room at Ben's house.
How do you feel about living in the US for so long?
I really like it. Of course, there are things that I dislike as well, and of course, there are some things that I miss. When I used to work at ESL, I lived in Cologne, right sort of in the center of the city, even though people said I lived at the wrong side of the Rhine. They have a big river. I didn't care about that. I had a really good time, and I enjoy living in the city. Right now we live kind of in a standard stereotype American neighborhood, big houses, but also big empty streets. And if you want to go somewhere, you need a car. I didn't have a car, so it's a little bit weird to go from a place where you can just walk everywhere or take public transport to suddenly kind of rely on others. Because every time hey Ben, can I take your car? Or later on his girlfriend came as well. But yeah, still it always feels a little bit awkward to ask for someone's car all the time. But I'm working on that, and as soon as I have my car, or I'm gonna get a car in January, I think I'll be very happy.
What kind?
I think I'm just gonna lease a car. I don't really see this.
Bugatti.
Close. No, I would. I'm gonna look into how much it would cost to lease a Camaro. I'm a big fan of the Camaro, and see what that would cost me, and see if I can afford it, which I know should work out.
What made you guys casted for ESL?
Yes.
And then you guys decided to come to the United States, do kind of full time with NASL. What made you make that decision?
Well, this might sound silly, and some people might shake their head when I say it was actually one of the most difficult decisions in my life, which probably means that I had a very easy life. So I guess that's true. I really love my time at ESL. I love all the people there. I loved Cologne, and I had such a good time there. But there were a couple of really big cons for me, or pros, to move here. One very important reason was that Ben really became one of my best friends, not just to work with.
Oh, you guys are bros.
Yeah,
you came here to hang out with your bro.
Yeah, I couldn't let my husband escape me right now. He's just one of my best friends in life, and I really enjoy working with Ben. And there's always a new partner who could come up, and I'm sure that I would work well with that guy. But I really want to continue working with Ben, and he had his plan set on moving back. And then I thought about it, and more pros would be, I thought my English would get quite a lot better, because in Germany, most people they speak English, but most of the time I speak German, because my German was quite okay, and even the company meetings and stuff, I did them in German. So I felt if I would move to the US, my English would probably improve over time.
You're not German though, right? You're from the Netherlands, right?
Are you trolling me? Is this the part where we're not serious anymore? You're offending me, or?
No.
Okay, no, I'm Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not German.
Yeah, I know. I just said I thought you were from the Netherlands.
Yes, I am. But
so I was right.
Yes, but I can speak German. We learn it in school. We can speak multiple languages, in Europe.
I know. I can speak 2 languages too.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So there were just a couple of pros and cons, and I was going to miss Germany, but in the end, I decided. And if I have to be honest, I would earn more money at NASL as well. And never in my esports life did I make any decisions based on money. But in this moment, I thought hey, well, maybe this is actually a good move. And
we're not in this for the money. Let's just say for that.
Well, I mean,
Some people are maybe.
yeah, I think I've been around long enough to make sure that I'm not in it for the money. But yeah, this was just a better offer for me, and that's perhaps what in the end was the deciding factor. But there were just lots of pros and cons. Number one reason I said is that I want to keep working with Ben.
So what do you think the biggest difference between the United States and Europe was when you first moved here? Did you notice about the people, maybe the weather?
Well, the weather is extremely good here in Southern California, a little bit too good for my taste. When I was young, I actually always had the dream that, well, if I had enough money, I would like to buy a farm in the north of Sweden and just get a couple of dogs and live alone and be a happy man. That's kind of what I had in mind. And now I live in one of the hottest places on earth, I feel. So that's it's not sucky, but I'm not a big fan of it. What I do know, one big difference is that I feel Europeans are nice, but I feel that Americans, if they like something, they show you that they like it. So if I would wear cool shoes, there would be guys hey man, I love your shoes. Happens so often. In Europe, it never happens. Or hey, where did you get those jeans and stuff? I think that's kind of cool of American people.
Maybe you just wear good clothes here.
Yeah, maybe they do. Maybe often they're where did you get them? It's in Europe. They're oh man, that's a bummer. I would like to get the same and stuff. So maybe
European style, Euro cut.
I guess
that's
so.
how we sold the hoodies. They're Euro fit. They're tighter.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Well, I can't really wear tight clothes right now, man. I have to work out more, but
okay.
Once upon a time.
You are now on Root.
Yes.
How is that going? I know you play pretty. I've watched your stream.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people they kind of see you as a caster, but do you feel like you have to fight against a stereotype?
No, not at all. I want to clarify one thing. When I joined Root, I really did have the intention to play some official Wings of Liberty games. I would always focus on casting it because that's my full-time job. But I really did want to compete in some tournaments. But it took way longer than I thought to get my visa stuff sorted. And since I moved to the US in March, I had to make 4 trips back to Europe, which I didn't plan on, and 2 of them included in me not being able to play a single game for a month. So obviously that set me back quite far in my practice schedule, basically. And on a certain moment, I also just thought, you know what, I'm just going to play a lot of Harder to Swarm, and that's what I did before I had to leave the US the last time. And I was really quite satisfied with how it was going. I was very high up in Grandmaster. Now, that didn't mean that much, but I played one Harder to Swarm tournament hosted by Dennis, Tay Galen, the man behind Homestar Cup, and I managed to defeat Dimaga in the first round 2-1. Then I lost to Chef, because Chef always beats me, he's kind of trolling me about it, but yeah, I was 0-10 against Chef. But then in the loser bracket, I also defeated Real, the Korean Pro player who lived in Germany, 2-0, and then I lost to Delphi, but I still felt very proud that I was able to beat 2 professional gamers. So
they're probably I lost to a caster.
Yeah. I was teasing Dimaga a little bit about it. Dima's no, I don't want to hear about it. But I mean, those guys, they know. Even before I moved to the US, I used to play a lot of ladder in Europe as well. So they know I can play. Most of the guys, they know I can play.
So can you give us some stories? How's it like working with the NASL? What are you guys seem to have a lot of fun on set? You have these new segments, they're fun segments. So it's good content. We really like it because it shows something different than a normal tournament. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's what I want to keep doing. I mean, I always say that Starcraft is pretty serious business, but at the end of the day, we're all in it because we like Starcraft and it's fun. So we should also treat it like it's fun. Of course, you want to be professional to some degree, but I think it's fun to just be relaxed and don't be ashamed to make a fool out of yourself every now and then. I really love working at the office. I was a little bit afraid because this was one of the things I was I really love ESL and I love all the guys I've worked with. Maybe at this company I'm not going to have the same amount of fun, but actually it's just as good, if not better. All the guys are really nice and it's cool to work with a really dedicated team because we only have one project, that's Starcraft. ESL is much bigger. So here we all work towards the same project. And the guys in the office are really nice. We have lots of fun trolling Greetorp all the time about his silly builds or the amazing amount of ladder that he plays. Greetorp should be a professional gamer. He plays more than most gamers, I think. And I love Froden as well. He's awesome. And of course, me and Ben, we always have fun pretty much wherever we go. So I really love working with you guys.
And you, man, I forgot what question I was going to ask you. But you...
About Twilight?
Twilight? Oh, yeah. Did you watch that movie? Because you probably saw my interview with Naniwa, right?
I think I watched one of the 3 Twilight movies.
Not for you?
No, just because everyone was always trolling that oh, it's a better love story than Twilight, so I wanted to see, and it was pretty bad. The worst thing is there was Halloween a few weeks ago in the US, and one night I didn't know it was Halloween, but I didn't know they were already go out dressed up that night. So I just I was wearing a jacket and a shirt below it and jeans, and then this girl came to me. She's like, "Are you dressed up like Edward Cullen from Twilight?" I was like, does it help if does it help if I say yes or? So yeah, but that's the only part I've seen.
You should have stalked her, followed her home, and then watched her sleep. It's a very appropriate stay in character.
Really? Is that what he does later?
I think that's what he did in one of the movies.
Man, that would have been awesome. I missed the window, damn it.
I know. You could have just told the police that you were just following a script.
Just in my role.
Well, you've been in. Have you visited LA often?
Actually, not just last week. I knew this Korean girl that I met in 2010 during WCG when I was here. And I went to West Hollywood and went to a Korean bar. That was really cool. But other than that, it's actually embarrassing that the amount of things I did so far while being here has been very little. Once more, that is also because I don't have a car. Like Ben has a girlfriend, so every now and then he does stuff with his girlfriend. It's terrible, by the way. No, just kidding.
You can third wheel.
Yeah.
It's fun, right? You can drive them around.
No, just didn't really have the opportunity, and we still traveled quite a bit to tournaments, and I went home a few times. But that's definitely something I want to do more. I want to go to some American sports games. I want to go downtown LA, hit some famous
You watch
clubs.
football?
Very recently, I started watching it a little bit when I was on TV, and I know the rules, but I never knew anything else. But I love the fact that the stadiums are so big, and I would just love to see or taste the atmosphere in the stadium like that. I don't care too much about the sport, but I like NFL. I would like to go to a game of the Ducks or the Kings.
Okay. What do you think about Heart of the Swarm and the changes that Blizzard are making? Do you feel that because recently this hasn't been a great 3 months for Starcraft? There's a lot of people freaking out about stuff. What do you think's going to happen?
I think the changes that Blizzard just announced are absolutely amazing, and I think Idra said it on his Twitter that these are really good changes for good players, and that's at the end of the day what we all want. We want to see less random results. We want to see those top players really shine, and I think the change that Blizzard made basically says like, hey, you're gonna be able to do more useful things at once, and you'll be able to deal like a more serious amount of damage in a shorter amount of time if you're able to do all those things at the same moment. And I think that's gonna be really amazing. So I'm very happy with the changes. I haven't played the new patch yet, so can't say too much. But I think it's good, and I'm super excited. I think some people exaggerated a little bit in the last 3 months, and they might see right now, like, we made a big fuss out of it, and now Blizzard is doing stuff. But actually, like behind the scenes, Blizzard has been working very hard for a long time. The NASL office is only 40 minutes away from the headquarters in Blizzard, and Ben and me, we went over quite a few times. They asked us for ideas. We told them what we would like to see in the game. So it's not like they were never listening. It's not like they were never doing anything. Just sometimes stuff happens behind the scenes, and just because people made a fuss and now stuff is happening doesn't mean that Blizzard wasn't working on it before, because they were. And Blizzard is definitely listening, and I still have a lot of faith in Blizzard.
So you and Ben have this nickname, Bitterdam.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that it would be better if you had the first spot in it? Because his entire name is in it, and you only have 3 letters.
Carmack is the one who gave us that name, so you're gonna.
He owns like 75% of that nickname.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be the other way? It should be Rotterdam.
Mr. Rotterdam.
Yeah, Rotterdam.
No, I think this was the only way that was gonna work. Carmack made it back then when we joined ESL, and I'm fine with it.
Okay. Well, are you guys casting one of the semifinals, or what's gonna happen?
Actually, Day 9 is gonna cast the first semi with Bitter, and he's gonna cast the second semifinals with Greetorp. And then tomorrow, Frodo and Greetorp will cast the third place decider, and Ben and me are gonna cast the final.
Nice. Okay. Who do you want to see in the final?
I'm a Protoss player, so I'd love to see Hero. I'm sure you would agree, since you're Liquid. I've always been a fan of Hero, or always, not like before he got famous. I don't want to be a hipster right now. I just got to know him when you guys picked him up and watched his streams. But he's just a very fun player to cast. I love his build, and he's also such a nice guy. He lived with us for a week right now, stayed in our house. He's just awesome, man. It is actually a really funny Korean. He reminds me of Violet in a way, that Violet loves to have fun as well and understands the humor. And now every time I see Hero, it's like, hey, Hero, maybe try my build? And he starts laughing. He's like, thinking about it. So I would love to see Hero in the final, and I mean, sort of just beat Hyun 3-0. I'm still kind of blown away by that. So maybe a Hero against sort of final, that would be quite the dream story.
Yeah, he seems like he has a pretty good chance against Violet, how good his ZVZ looked, so we'll see. Well, thank you for the interview, and we'll catch up next time. I can't believe this is the first time I've interviewed you. Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of crazy, and I feel that you're like more on the professional side. I kind of hope that it will be like the trolling hot bit.
The first one we do, it's got to be serious. I gotta gauge how you're doing. Like,
we gotta get in the comfortable zone.
I think it's very overreacting how much overestimating how much I troll people.
No. I love those videos from IPL, man. They were actually my highlight of the weekend. I wasn't there, but just seeing those videos made me feel like I was there.
Thank you. That makes my day. I'm happy I went now. Okay, well, thank you so much, and we'll look forward to the finals. You and Mr. Bitter casting tomorrow.
Thank you, mate.